Let's face it, we spend so much of our lives glued to our screens, right? Just endlessly scrolling. But at the same time, a lot of us are looking for something deeper, something with more meaning and connection. So today, we're going to dive into the really surprising place where those two worlds meet, our digital lives and our spiritual search.
And it often feels like a bit of a battle, doesn't it? I love how the writer Daniel Esparza puts it. He says we're navigating a digital minefield. Our phones, our tablets, they are absolute masters of distraction. They're constantly pulling our attention away from any kind of quiet reflection. And honestly, they can leave us feeling more disconnected than ever. They can be the biggest roadblock to finding any kind of spiritual space in our lives.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. What if the very same devices that distract us could also become tools for a really profound connection? What if that screen in your hand could actually become a window to something sacred? Well, that's the whole idea behind a global movement called faith tech. And it's growing fast as people everywhere look for new ways to connect with ancient traditions in our super modern world.
So, how does this actually work? All right, let's get into it. First up, let's look at how technology is putting these ancient spiritual practices right at our fingertips. It's making them more accessible than they have ever been in history. I mean, it's a whole ecosystem out there now. You name a spiritual need, and chances are there's an app for it. Seriously, we're talking about the whole range, from Catholic apps with daily prayers and these beautiful animated stories of saints, to a whole suite of Hindu apps where you can learn Sanskrit, use a digital chant counter, or even connect with online communities.
And what's really cool is how these apps aren't just digital, they're actually bridging the gap between the physical and the digital worlds. So you've got Dharma, where you can literally book a puja, that's a ritual, to be performed for you at a real temple in India, and then they'll send you a video of it. Then there's Little Guru, which uses AI and games to make learning an ancient language like Sanskrit feel fun and interactive. And then you have Sadna, which creates these incredible, immersive 3D temples where you can perform complex rituals yourself.
And the impact of this stuff is super personal. Just listen to what one user of that Dharma app said. It's like carrying a little temple with me wherever I go. See, this is so much more than just convenience, right? It's about weaving that spiritual practice right into the fabric of our crazy, busy modern lives.
All right, so that idea of a digital temple, that takes us to our next big point. Because this technology isn't just about simple access anymore. Oh no. It's creating these entirely new, super immersive ways to worship that go way beyond just, reading some text on a screen.
This quote from Hari Nair just nails it. He says using the Sadna app is basically like stepping right into a real ancient temple from another time. The developers are pouring everything into this. Incredibly detailed 3D graphics, ornate architecture, beautiful lighting, authentic Vedic mantras, all to perfectly replicate that sacred feeling of being in a physical space. And it just transports you.
Okay, so what does that actually look like in practice? Let's take a ritual called Abishekum. Inside the app, you first choose your deity in this absolutely stunning 3D temple. Then, the app guides you through chanting these powerful mantras. With just a tap, you perform a virtual water offering. And get this, the app says these guided rituals can offer the same spiritual benefits as doing them in person. It makes an ancient, pretty complex practice totally accessible to anyone, anywhere in the world.
And this is where it all comes home. This is the real human story behind the tech. Remember Hari Nair, the writer we just quoted? Well, he lives in Denmark. He really missed the ancient temples from his childhood in southern India, and he was worried that his son was growing up completely disconnected from that heritage. This app, it became a bridge. It allowed him to share these rituals and plant a seed of cultural and spiritual connection for the next generation.
So, okay, technology is replicating tradition. That's cool, but it's also doing something else, something kind of remarkable. It's actually helping us understand and even validate the effects of these ancient practices in a super modern, scientific way.
The idea that chanting a mantra can calm your mind, that's not just a belief anymore. It's something we can literally see. Technology is giving us this brand new lens to view the real physiological impact of these traditions.
And here's the kicker. At a recent tech festival, the team from that Sadna app did a live demo. They hooked someone up to measure their brainwaves. First, while they were just talking and distracted in this loud, crowded room. The readings? All over the place. Just erratic, spiky brain activity. And then, the person starts chanting. And almost instantly, you see the brainwave shift to this calm, focused, coherent state. It's just a stunning visual of the power of an ancient practice.
And make no mistake, this is not some niche thing. That Sadhana app we've been talking about, it has over 1 million downloads. That's what 10L, or 10 lakh, means in India, just on Google Play. This points to a massive and growing demand. And it's a huge deal, especially with younger generations, like Gen Z, who are globally connected and are using tech to rediscover and engage with their heritage, but on their own terms.
Okay, so this all brings us to a really important question, right? With all this amazing tech out there, how do we actually integrate it wisely? How do we use it as a tool without letting it become just another digital black hole for our attention?
Well, the sources give some really clear, practical advice on this. And honestly, it all boils down to one word: mindfulness. First off, use these apps with intention. Set aside dedicated time for them instead of just scrolling through them like everything else. It's also about setting boundaries and making sure to encourage offline stuff like family time or just getting out in nature. This could mean creating sacred, tech-free zones, like maybe the dinner table or the bedroom. And finally, and this is a big one, it's about leading by example. Because at the end of the day, our kids are watching what we do, not just what we say.
So look, the big takeaway here isn't technology is bad. Not at all. Technology is a part of our lives, period. The real challenge and the opportunity is to be smart about it. It's about shaping a healthy digital environment where these powerful devices become tools that actually enrich our lives and deepen our connection to our faith, to our heritage, and to each other.
And all of this leaves us with one last kind of mind-bending thought to chew on. We heard how a virtual temple could bridge continents and generations, feeling just as real as a physical one. As this trend just keeps growing, what does that mean for our whole idea of a secret space? Can a temple made of pixels feel just as sacred as one made of stone? Now that is a question we're all going to be answering together as we move forward.